Warning. The following podcast is utter nonsense and may cause agoraphobia, kleptomania, insomnia, and oppositional defiance disorder. We are required by law to provide you with this disclaimer for hazardous materials.
Welcome back to Hazardous Materials. My name is Casey Johnson. With me, as always, is Gideon Gonzalez. Light week, but we've got stuff to talk about.
We've got one book that I expected to be terrible that was great, and one book that I expected to be okay and was terrible. So we've got the
Let's
whole
talk
range.
about that.
Alrighty, do we want to start with the good or the bad?
I think we should take them both, and there you have our podcast.
Casey's been sitting on that for about an hour.
I have. I've been really working on that joke, so much so that my editor wished that he was recording. So there's that gem. Let's start with the bad, because bad's always the fun.
All right. So, I generally like, or at the very least can find the good in something.
Yes. Disparagingly
That is not the case with this week's Spider-Man #1 by J.J. Abrams, Henry Abrams, and Sara Pichelli, who is the one good point of this book. Sara Pichelli does amazing work, as always.
So we both read this independently, and we both came back with the independent thing that this sucks.
Real bad.
Real bad. I had to stop short of what I was really going to emphasize, but it was definitely going to be anatomy parts. We hate this book.
It's
so
a worse version of several stories. It's a worse version of Miles Morales' origin. It's a worse version of Spider-Girl. It's a worse
version of Green Lantern. Which we're going to get into.
It's also a worse version of the recently canceled Renew Your Vows. Which extra makes me mad and kind of twists the knife.
Okay, so the big deal with this is J.J. Abrams apparently likes Marvel, or Marvel likes J.J. Abrams. Pick one. But Spider-Man, the adjectiveless Spider-Man, has typically been a vanity book for whoever Marvel is throwing millions of dollars at.
Todd McFarlane, Eric Larson, Bryan Michael Bendis.
And now J.J. Abrams and his son, what's his son's name?
Henry Abrams.
Hank? We'll call him Hank.
Hank McAbrams.
Good old Hank has some ideas about comics that he might not have made the same decisions if he'd paid attention to the history, or what works and doesn't work these days. And let me tell you, fridging does not work these days.
My favorite tweet I've seen in regards to this was something along the lines of, why kill one woman and make one man sad when I can kill a mother and make two men sad?
And basically what we've got here is, this is clearly not Marvel Universe 616. You knew that immediately after, as soon as they killed, spoiler alert, Mary Jane.
Yeah, really kind of weirdly graphically too.
Yeah, let's spike her and give her some last words where she can't see. Yeah. And we don't, this isn't even a real villain. This is like just some weird alien shit.
My OC donut steal.
Yeah. And we kill Mary Jane by page 6. Right then and there, you realize, okay, this is obviously not going to be mainstream. And you get that even more when you see 12 years later.
Where they have a son.
Named Ben.
Because, I guess, like, Mayday and...
Spiderling?
Yeah, Spiderling. There we go. I was like, what was it? Mayday and Spiderling just weren't good enough, I guess.
No, we got to go look at the other side of things and take off a different limb. See, in Spider-Girl, we have a bearded Peter Parker who's lost his leg and therefore is pretty much retired as Spider-Man. Nowadays, we have a bearded Peter Parker who's doing the hook hand routine.
It's just like, they had to have read Spider-Girl. Like, there's way too many similarities, but it's so bad.
It really
is. It has
is.
none of the charm of Spider-Girl. It's just aggressively unpleasant.
Yeah, I looked at this book and I realized that I wasn't going to be following the rest of this.
Yeah, thank God it's only a 5-issue miniseries.
Yeah, I don't see this coming back, and I don't see a lot of people responding well to it.
Yeah, I have not seen a single positive review. Like, the one resounding thing I can find is the real tragedy of this book is how many good Spider-Man pitches got shot down because they weren't J.J. Abrams.
Yeah, and it really comes down to J.J. Abrams. I think most of the ideas really came down from his kid, but somebody had to show.
It definitely reads like something written by a famous person's child.
Yeah, somebody should have walked up to good old Hank and say, hey, listen, I want to show you the first couple of issues of Kyle Rayner's origin. Let me tell you why this doesn't work anymore. No one wants to fold up a girl just to serve as an origin story for a man's angst anymore. It's just not going to rock anymore.
Now we got 2 sad boys. So,
we got 2 sad boys. But, so
it's the trolley problem, but where you're like, we had to figure out how to kill everybody.
I feel like there's some kind of screwed up equivalency. Do we need to fold up and fridge another woman for this to be valid in some weird way? Fridging isn't cool. No one likes it these days. Maybe 40 years from now, they'll find some weird artistic way to appreciate it. But today, it's just not rolling, and this book is going to suffer for it.
Yeah. It's been selling really well, which is very disappointing. The thing I did at work today was put the Spider-Girl trades on either side of it. So hopefully someone will be like,
as often as we've been throwing this term around, I need to pay attention to the fact that some people actually don't read comics, have no idea this term. Fridging it straight up really means the act of sacrificing a female character, usually in grotesque and dramatic fashion, only to serve as background angst for a male character. And the term strictly came from Kyle Rayner's origin, where soon after he got the ring, the villain named Major Force.
Yes. Not even a Green Lantern villain.
Yeah, got a hold of Kyle Rayner's girlfriend, beat her up, killed her, folded her up, and stuck her in his fridge.
I am a huge Kyle Rayner fan, but yeah, that first arc is just yikes city.
Yeah.
It is aged horribly. It wasn't good then. It's extra bad now.
I hated it just because I was a Hal fan. And I didn't like change. So everything about it, I just had to hate.
My aunt had the Green Lantern comics up until Hal went crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And so as a kid, it made me want to go back and go and be like, I wonder what happens next. And that's how I fell in love with Kyle Rayner. He became one of my favorite characters.
I just can't do it. I mean, I like Kyle for the purpose he serves in current continuity, but I love Hal. I don't like White Sideburns Hal.
Oh, I'm all about white. I'm all about Parallax. Honestly, as much as I love Jeff Johns' Green Lantern run, the one thing I hate is that it undid Hal's character arc in the 90s, just be evil space bug. You
had to. And when I say you had to, we're talking about intellectual properties. When you've stained your intellectual property, you've got to redeem it. And that's the reason why.
But you got John Stewart and Kyle Rayner.
DC's not the only person that's done this. Remember what they did to Iron Man to give him the forgiveness beam.
Oh, yeah.
From Civil War. Let's check this out. So Iron Man did Civil War 1, largely, what's the word I'm looking for here? An unattractive move on his part. And it strangely affected his sales. Very directly. The Iron Man book took a serious spike.
Turns out people don't want to read about superheroes sicking supervillains on their friends.
Yeah, I mean, I can't identify with this person anymore, so I'm checking out.
I mean, I could never identify with Tony,
people checked out on Tony big time. Who would ever thought there was a time when people checked out on Tony? But it happened. So they did a weird storyline where he was slowly losing his mind, and he realized he had a secret that he was trying to keep that was in his mind or something along those lines.
Because Norman Osborn had just become director of S.H.I.E.L.D., and so he was trying to keep that away from him.
Right. So there was something going on that was slowly degenerating his brain, and finally he flatlines, and he goes back to a backup that's a year before Civil War happened. So this Tony has no recollection of the decisions he's made in Civil War, and therefore is innocent of them.
And you know what? And for such a wonky 4D chess move, it gave us arguably the best Iron Man run of all time with Matt Fraction. So
I love Matt Fraction's Iron Man. That's actually when I jumped on.
It's such a good book.
I need to stop drinking this Coke. Right, we're gonna leave that one in.
I don't know how much of this conversation is gonna make it to the main episode anyway. As much as I love being able to talk about Green Lantern for a minute.
Yeah, I have to say though that I enjoyed the run that happened after Matt Fractions, which was it was Superior Iron Man.
Yes.
Or what I like to call Ron Man, because of I did that badly. The Apple version of Iron Man is what I'm trying to get at here. I love the white, blue, and silver suit.
And I love him just being an unapologetic supervillain.
And there was no resolution to it.
Nope.
It just one day he was okay again.
We should probably move on.
We've kind of derailed our own self. We should probably get over to
Spider-Man bad.
Spider-Man bad, and it's not going to get any better.
Read Amazing Superior Friendly Neighborhood instead.
Don't read
way
Spider-Man.
Better books.
So, flash forward. Talk about redemption.
Yeah, that was the book that I expected would be terrible, but was in fact great.
I loved it.
It was really good.
Wally.
Me too. Wally is one of my favorite characters of all time.
Wally is one true Flash.
He is. And oh my God, there's one page, I know you probably loved it too. It's near the end when the Tempest Fusionaut. Yeah, Tempest Fusionaut tells him like only the fastest being in the multiverse can stop this threat. And I was like, my boy.
That was fan service. And Wally didn't even acknowledge it.
No.
It's like, is he like, yeah, I know.
So the reason I expected this to be so terrible was it is picking up the pieces from Heroes in Crisis.
It's hot on the heels of it.
Arguably like a character breaking story. I mean, not even argument. At the time, I was like, I don't know if I can ever enjoy a Wally West comic again.
I was infuriated by it.
I was so mad. So what happens in Heroes in Crisis, Wally West commits manslaughter because he gets sad and it makes his lightning explode and he kills a bunch of his fellow heroes.
He basically has a microsecond of weakness and the Speed Force kills a shitload of people.
Because, that's how the Speed Force is always working.
Yeah, I mean,
it is Speed Force, so they make up the rules as they go along.
I want to go fast. I want to kill my friends. Wait, I want to go fast.
So Wally then, oh my God, I'm just getting so mad remembering all of this.
We're regressing back to a trauma.
He mutilates the corpses to frame Booster Gold and Harley Quinn,
making it worse.
And then is going to make a time loop by going back in time and killing himself along with all the other people. Which
is not in any way a move of redemption, but is essentially an alibi to cover his own butt.
And then they're going to cover for him, but then he turns himself in. And that's where we get at Flash Forward.
Yeah.
So
right now, our boy Flash, our boy Wally West is in Blackgate.
Yes.
Which was apparently the only superhuman prison because the other one, what was it?
Iron Heights.
Iron Heights has been destroyed.
Yeah, I'm not reading the current Flash book because I don't care about Barry Allen. So
that's a strange thing. As much as I love Flash, I tend to gravitate towards the older and original characters and stuff like that. But I just like Wally West better than Barry.
I mean, Barry Allen has the personality of a bologna sandwich.
He really does. He's dull as hell.
They keep trying to make him diet Wally West or diet Peter Parker, and it doesn't work. The only characterization that for me works with Barry Allen is the human golden retriever. He's the one guy in the Justice League that's even more straight-laced and a nice guy than Superman.
Yeah, and straight-laced is the absolute. He's vanilla. He's Dullsville. Even Jeff Johns couldn't save that.
Which works much better for a mentor figure to Wally West than to a protagonist.
Yeah, I don't really want to read his stuff. I actually tend to read Flash comics for the supporting characters and the other speedsters because they're cool.
I will say the saving grace of Silver and Bronze Age Flash is the strength of the villains and just how absolutely nuts and fun the Silver Age Flash comics are. It's one of my favorite Silver Age books. Where you have things like Wally's classic Kid Flash costume, his first one.
I love that design.
Then before the yellow and red.
When he was straight red.
It's just a Flash costume.
Yeah, because it's smaller.
But then he gets some chemicals spilled on him and he walks through this ray of light and it changes his outfit entirely. And Barry has this pseudo-scientific explanation for it. Because they always had to do they did these weird little science lessons of questionable intent.
So you got to explain it.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember those actually now.
Yeah, the flash facts. They wanted it to be educational, so they'd have little flashback footnotes. God. But a lot of them were just kind of nonsense.
Yeah, I mean, it was basically just to support their own crazy pseudoscience.
But they're very fun.
I loved Yellow Red Kid Flash.
It's a great costume.
I read George Perez's Teen Titans when it first came out as a kid. It was actually one of my formative comics. It's something I learned to read with.
Yeah.
And that was actually, I think, one of the reasons why my parents let me do this and gave me the comics that they did is because that's how I learned to read. And I actually, developed somewhat of a vocabulary.
And I really love that Wally's current costume is a throwback to that, but with the red on the crimson with the silver trim. Oh,
I'm absolutely in love with that. And that's one of the reasons why I hate your shirt. Not the one you're wearing right now, which is a Madrox shirt. I love that shirt. But every time I see your Wally West shirt, I'm angry because I don't have one.
It's a great shirt.
I love that shirt.
And I was really worried after Heroes in Crisis, well, damn, can I never wear this shirt again? But so my other misgiving I had going into Flash Forward.
Yeah.
Do not much care for Scott Lobdell or Brett Booth's other work. They're very hit or miss creators for me.
Oh God. Not Lobdell, but Brett Booth.
Yes.
I love Brett Booth's 90s stuff because I was a big fan of Backlash.
Yeah. Fair.
So I even though Brett Booth is hit or miss as well.
Yeah.
Because he does write some or draw some real garbage. And sometimes his character designs go. I knew at least I was going to see Wally looking really nice.
Yeah, I know he is a massive, massive Wally fan. He has said for like 3 or 4 years that whenever Wally gets a solo book, he will be the guy to write it.
And I've seen some of Lobdell's other designs for Wally's costumes, and they look great.
Yeah, Booth really
that
loves the
blue
character.
one. He actually had a blue costume idea for him for a while.
Yeah, I saw that one.
And I really love that outfit. I stole it for like some my tabletop RPGs.
I will say that I did not like the chrome Kid Flash costume he did for Wallace West, the new 52 Wally.
Yeah, thank God that thing didn't last long.
But I do love Wallace in the classic Kid Flash costume. I think that looks great.
I think he did. I think it works too. And I'm glad they graduated into the Flash TV series.
Yeah.
I was really cool with that. So what we should probably fast forward a little bit, but into
fast forward and flash forward.
You like that one?
We should actually talk about the contents of the book.
Yeah. So Wally West is in Blackgate, and of course, being a superhero in prison doesn't necessitate friends at all.
He gets attacked by pretty much all of the John's original villains. So Girder, Double Down, one of my favorite villains who shares the name of the KFC meal,
which I was just talking about yesterday. In fact, I really want one. I've never had one. Stuff. But we're not going to get past that. And he gets rescued by Murmur only because Murmur wants him to see him suffer. So you're not going to be able to get yourself out of this situation, obviously, unless some kind of cosmic entity gets involved. And boy, guess what?
The Tempest Fusionaut from Sideways
is a cosmic entity, and he's going to interfere and get Wallace out.
The dark multiverse
he can do this.
Yes. The dark multiverse is dripping into main realities. And he's like, I need one speedy boy to go and fix all this.
And that's where we end the series at the end of the issue. And I'm in.
Have you seen the solicit for number 4?
No.
He goes to one of the dark multiverse he goes to is a vampire themed universe. Where he's team up with Roy Harper, Vampire Hunter.
Oh,
I'm very excited about that.
I'm a sucker for anything vampire related. I will definitely watch that. Now, the next book we're going to go into is so esoteric that when you told me the title of it, I was like, huh? That's the Inferior 5.
Yes. So
I still have no idea what the Inferior 5 is about.
You're not familiar with the classic Inferior 5, right?
No, not at all.
So they were a joke team created in, I think, the late 60s, early 70s.
Oh, it was that joke team?
Yes. They're ones with...
Who's Who?
Yes, like Merryman, Dumb Bunny, The Blimp, and a couple other forgetters.
I didn't think it was actually really that connection.
Yeah. What's interesting is this new book so far has nothing to do with the classic team outside of the name Dumb Bunny popping up.
Uh-huh.
But what the book is about is it's Keith Giffen and Jeff Lemire riffing on the end of Invasion, the classic 80s DC crossover event, which was one of Todd McFarlane's first really big gigs.
You know, my brain is actually kicking into high gear, and Giffen was involved in that.
Yes.
Because Lobo was involved in that.
Of course.
And he loves Lobo.
He does.
Loves Lobo.
I believe he created Lobo.
Yes.
So
Lobo was in everything he was doing back then.
So the book is not really a superhero book at all. It's more of a kind of weird, slow burn horror book, which Jeff Lemire does really well in Gideon Falls. Always got to plug it. It does have my name in the title.
I saw that.
But so it's about the effects of this big crossover event on a small town and the people who live there. And I guess it's going to lead in a formation of a new Inferior 5 of a group of kids they're focusing on.
At least, yeah, to focus on X.
Yes. And there's this creepy Dominator who's been left behind and killing people. And the backups, which was my favorite part of the book. It's 5 pages of Lemire writing and drawing a Peacemaker story, who will soon be in the major motion picture, The Suicide Squad.
Is he going to be in that?
John Cena's playing him.
That totally makes sense.
You can see John Cena in a big dumb chrome helmet. I'm very excited about that. But
I thought he looked like Ajax, not Ajax, but that new god that flies around on that.
Orion.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I thought he looked like Orion.
So the Peacemaker backup is Amanda Waller being like, I don't want to waste the Suicide Squad on checking out what's going on in this weird town. Peacemaker, you go take care of it. And Peacemaker, as he was in Invasion, is very just like, laser focus. I'm going to kill me some Dominators.
Because that's the way to go.
Exactly. And I'm very excited to see how those two plots meet up.
You know, when I saw the first part of this book and I saw the girl get vaporized by the person wearing a sack over his head with an X on it. I was like, what the hell is that all about? It wasn't until I saw the Dominator in the middle of the book going, oh, it's a Dominator that's in that thing. That's why his head is so huge.
It's such a weird big 2 book, but I'm really excited to see where it goes.
Well, you're going to have to keep me updated on that one. I don't know if I can keep on that one. Next one we got is You're the Villain, Lex Luthor, which I know you were super excited about.
A huge Lex Luthor fan. Not a huge fan of what they've been doing with him lately, but I loved this book.
I got a chance to quickly skim through it, and I liked it.
It's really cool. Gets into Lex's head in an interesting way that I feel like writers haven't done in a couple years. Not since like the Super Lex stuff, but even then they didn't get as deep as this one does.
There's a few of these You're the Villains I don't really care for. Riddler, surprisingly enough, I liked. Sinestro, I didn't like at all.
I really like Sinestro.
Well, I think I'm just not a big fan of the whole ultraviolet ring thing.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing working against these Year of the Villains one shot is them being constrained by Year of the Villain stuff.
Yeah.
But we've got Jason Latour writing the Lex Luthor one, who's the co-creator of Spider-Gwen. So he knows something about all universes, which is what this one shot's all about. Lex Luthor, our Lex Luthor, the Apex Lex, who has merged with Martian Manhunter and is now a Martian Lex Luthor. And I know it's stupid and I hate it.
And Martian Manhunter, I swear to God, he is like the one character in DCU that feels like somebody put him together in an RPG.
Oh, I love Martian Manhunter.
I want laser vision and flight and phasing and shape changing. Oh, and telepathy.
Yeah, but he's got like a -5 in defense.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, let's set him on fire, and that's the end of him.
I love my glass cannon, sweet boy.
I mean, he's got like all these abilities that don't seem to share any kind of commonality to him, but he just has them.
Yeah, he's great. He's the backbone of the Justice League for me.
Yeah, I mean, he formed the Justice League, didn't he? The whole Starro thing. And that's what he's kind of.
Man, I have not read.
His idea. He's like the Loki of Justice League, as Loki is the Avengers.
I haven't read that first Justice League appearance since I was like 8 years old, so I do not remember.
I am going on pure memory too, because I remember because I read it as a reprint back in the 80s. And I definitely didn't read an original one. This is back when Zatanna was wearing that black, white, and indigo looking outfit with the capes on her wrists.
You mean Justice League Detroit?
Yeah, right around that time.
Okay, yeah.
Well, I mean, that's the outfit she was wearing at that time, but it was also the outfit she was wearing during the first appearance.
Yeah.
And now she's back to wearing the shirt tails and top hat, which are cool.
But anyways, back on Lex Luthor. So Lex has decided that the only real threat to his plan is other Lex Luthors. So he goes on a multiverse spanning trip, first picking up a younger version of himself from Earth 38 to kind of show him what he could be and why Lex Luthor Prime, I guess we should call him Apex Lex for simplicity's sake, why Apex Lex is the version to follow.
I almost want to say that he picked him up just to have a chummy sidekick, but then he has this kid kill some of them himself. It's like, oh, that's right. He's Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
Let's scar this kid. And he vaporizes his dad.
Yeah.
From the belly up.
Lex, who has famously long hated his alcoholic father, Lionel Luthor, as seemingly a gift to the kid, just vaporizes Lionel right in front of him.
Doing you a favor.
Exactly. He's his own dad now. So
yeah.
The highlight of the multiverse Lexes for me, definitely Bat Lex.
I love Bat Lex.
It's Lex Luthor as a drone piloting Batman who is in a relationship with his world Superman, who is also a Martian.
And who's also Lex Luthor.
No, that one's it's
not even. No. It feels like it's Lex Luthor and Lex Luthor.
No, it's
it feels like it is.
It's Martian Manhunter and Clark Kent mashup with a Bruce Wayne Lex Luthor mashup.
Okay, I was tripped out by the baldness of it.
He wasn't bald. He had great little. He had a little green spit curl.
Oh God.
But anyways, they're great. Lex Luthor has of course an elaborate plan. He sicks a Doomsday Lex Luthor combo,
which was hilarious.
Yeah, calling back to not Super Doom, but I'm forgetting what his name was.
Are you talking about the Nazi Doom? Or are you talking about?
It's he's not a Nazi. It's the
you called him
corporate one.
Oh, Super Lex or Super.
I don't think it's Super Doom.
Oh man, you're gonna make me reach over here and grab this.
Apologies to our editor.
See, I knew we'd get these comics here for a reason.
Oh, it was Super Doom. Okay.
So, all right. Super Doom it is.
We can just cut off right from when I said Super Doom. So anyways, so he sicks Super Doom on the Manhunter Superman. So that distracts Bat Lex from being able to go after main Lex.
Yes, Bat Lex.
And they go through a tour. They meet other Lex Luthors, including one that was successful in breaking Superman using the Black Mercy, a mind-altering plant from a classic Alan Moore Superman story that...
And he doesn't kill him.
Yeah. He just puts him in a coma, and Lex Luthor smiles.
Yeah, he was so upset about it. So upset. But at the same time, that one still won. He did better than he did.
Yeah.
So he's really angry at himself.
So it ultimately culminates after taking out a number of Alt-Lexes that the real reason Lex Luthor has been taking this kid under his wing is he needs a backup body in case this Apex Lex thing doesn't work out.
Right. He's got him in a little tube with Black Mercy all over him.
With Black Mercy, maybe implying that the events of the book didn't actually happen. Yeah.
Just vague enough to say, maybe we might not have vaporized all these really cool Lexes.
Exactly.
They're probably going to come back.
Yeah. Also, another note, Bryan Hitch, love his art. One of my all-time favorite artists. He kicks ass on this book.
It was nice and clean. I really like this.
He makes all the Lexes easily identifiable, but you can still you can get what their gimmick is, and you can tell they're Lex Luthor.
Yeah, they even did really good with the coloration on this one. Apex Lex is kind of that clay grayish tan, but the other Luthors are all flesh colored, so you can tell that immediately when they're both in frame which Luthor is talking. And even then, Apex Lex is pretty regularly shifting his form to different classic Luthor looks. He's wearing just the regular suit at one point. He's got the George Perez power armor in another. He has the new 52 power armor in another one. I really wish he had gone back to the green and purple thing with the cross. Oh man, the Super Friends outfit. Yeah, I love that. I love that. That is my Lex Luthor action figure that I have. That's the pie stealing Luthor. The pink polo shirt with a variety of capsules. Yes. Probably holding snacks. But yeah, Lex Luthor, You're the Villain. Master. The best thing to come out of You're the Villain. So we had something here that I don't recognize called Second Coming. Yes. So I mentioned Second Coming in an earlier episodes of ours, but I didn't really deep into it. Mm-hmm. It's Mark Russell, Richard Pace, and Leonard Kirk doing a story about Jesus being sent to learn from what God considers a real savior, Sunstar, who is a Superman analog. This is the book that DC got cold feet on. Yes. Just like DC got cold feet on The Boys, and we know how that turned out. Exactly. I hope Second Coming gets as much crazy success as that has, because I love this book. It is one of the most thoughtful and just genuinely good interpretations of Jesus I've ever read. Oh yeah. This issue, he actually gets into it with some Westboro Baptist Church-esque protesters. There's a scene where the guy mentions, well, as you can see, Paul says, and he's like, who's Paul? He's like, the guy who wrote most of the New Testament. He's just like, I never met a Paul. And this is really strange to me because we're talking about this. For me, I just started catching up on AMC's Preacher. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you've been watching this. I'm a few seasons behind, but I really love the show. Okay, well, I'm in season 4, and Jesus is a supporting character. And it's really interesting to see Jesus's take on the real life and what his role is on everything. I'm not going to get too spoilerish on it, but he's in it and he hangs out with Tulip a lot, and they go in their car and try to be free. So it's interesting that Jesus is coming to pulp culture in such a way. He's in comics and he's in DC. The apocalypse is on everyone's mind. Yeah, and that's exactly what he's there for. Yeah. It's man, they don't call me they don't make me call me to do anything except this. So this is going to be my responsibility. He's basically negotiating the apocalypse with the representative for hell, and the representative for hell is Hitler. Of course. So you got Hitler and Jesus Christ are basically negotiating what's going to happen with the apocalypse. Always fun. That hook right there is worth it. Exactly. Of a comic. Yeah, Second Coming. It's from Ahoy Comics, who do a ton of my favorite books lately. This, Bronze Age Boogie, Planet of the Nerds, my favorite book, period, right now, The Wrong Earth, which is coming back, I think, in a month or two. And so I'll definitely be talking about that when it returns. Oh, we gotta do a little break thing here. When we come back, we're going to be looking at House of X, which I have a lot to say about. And maybe we'll even talk about our mystery episode that didn't happen. See you in here in a bit.
Hi, this is Brooke with Haphazard Fiction, and welcome to episode 6 of Hazardous Materials, last week's comics this week. It may seem like we've skipped from episodes 4 to episode 6, but we had some technical difficulties on episode 5, so we weren't able to release the full session, but if you would like a copy of that, you have access to exclusive podcasts. For example, once again, the imperfect episode 5 of Hazmat. If you would like to join us as a patron, you can go to haphazardfiction.com and follow the links there, or just go to Patreon and search Haphazard Fiction. At the end of this episode, one of the things you'll get a chance to see is also an unboxing. Those unboxing videos seem to be pretty popular on YouTube nowadays, so we brought in a toy that we picked up at our local Dragon's Lair comic book store. If you happen to live in San Antonio, Austin, or Houston, you have access to the Dragon's Lair. They do have this new toy available for purchase in their stores, so feel free to go and check that out. We do thank you for tuning in and take you back to Hazardous Materials, last week's comics this week with Casey and Gideon.
Alrighty, we are back from our break, ready to knock out our last 2 books of the week before we dive into the new segment. Casey, I believe you had something you wanted to mention about a possible missing episode?
Yes. Last week, we were going to talk about this during the House of X thing, but this is fine.
Yeah.
Last week we filmed an entire episode, and it was really cool. We talked about a lot of cool things that, and in fact, we talked about one thing in particular. We're going to talk about again now, just because it was so damn good.
We'll bring it back up in the Hawks discussion.
Yeah. But unfortunately, we had some technical snafu with it. The video works. It was properly blocked and everything, but unfortunately poor Gideon's microphone got crapped out.
It did.
So instead, the episode basically consists of my audio and Gideon's audio coming from his personal camera right there. So we decided not to put this up on our YouTube channel because we really want to keep it quality episodes on this one. But it does exist. So we decided what we're going to do is we're going to put this as our lost episode and put it up on our Patreon channel. So if you want to support us, hit us a little like down there on the bottom and hit us up on our Patreon site and check out this lost episode where we were actually
2 weeks ago's comics this week.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago's comics. We could call it that and just keep changing the name every week. Just
exactly.
Kind of like we're a member of Thunderbolts or something like that. We really like this episode, if nothing more, than our chat about, was it House of X4?
Yes.
But we'll get into that. First, what we want to do.
Oh, no, it was Powers of X. Sorry.
It was Powers of X.
Powers of X.
It's hard to really figure out which one we're reading. Is it Powers of X or House of X?
Especially for that, like, those 2 weeks that they had double House and then double Powers.
Yeah, that really hurt us. But first, we want to knock out the new series that's just hit, and that's Black Panther and the Agents of Wakanda.
Yeah, spinning out of Jason Aaron's Avengers book. This one is by Jim Zub and Lan Medina. And it is Black Panther with a hand-picked, very strictly, one A-list character. Janet Van Dyne, the Wasp, is there.
Yeah, she's the one. And then we got people from Agents of Atlas, like Gorilla Man.
Yeah, my boy.
We've also got Man-Wolf,
John Jameson.
The third, I guess. John Jameson. What else we got going on there?
There's Brood, the hyper-intelligent mutant Brood from Jason Aaron's X-Men run, who is the IT consultant for the Avengers.
I guess since he created the kid, he gets to bring him wherever he goes.
Exactly.
Kazar's
there. American Eagle, who I was super stoked to see.
I was surprised to see
I haven't seen him
there
since he beat Bullseye's ass back in Thunderbolts.
Oh, God.
One of the best, dusting off a not great character from his first appearance. Kind of start off as a Native American stereotype, like giant headdress and all. But then, my God, that beating he gave Bullseye.
Yeah, I think being a Bullseye apparently is like is a trial of manhood.
It's a merit badge.
It really is. And apparently Valkyrie and She-Hulk got their badges last month.
Indeed.
So who else? What? We got the Agents of Wakanda, and they're fighting off against...
Oh, and Okoye. Okoye and Fat Cobra.
Yes, Fat Cobra, one of the immortal weapons.
Who is great and is the star of this book. He is the standout.
I loved Fat Cobra in this book because it was very important that even it wasn't even him talking about it, but the block where it's talking about Fat Cobra and it talks about like a lover of women or something like that.
A prodigious lover.
A prodigious lover. It's like, yeah, okay, we're selling up Fat Cobra a little much on this one now.
So they fight a weird alien threat in a small town, kind of like Inferior 5 this week.
Yeah.
It's weird aliens in small towns is catching. But the thing, so if I wasn't already sold on the book from the lineup and from Jim Zub's amazing ability to juggle teams, from getting to see Man-Wolf kind of wolf out, the last page reveal of who the villain this arc is to quote Fat Cobra, "Oh shit, it's the Sentry."
Yes, I saw that and I was like, damn. Okay, so I told you in previous episodes about my absolute detesting of Carnage.
Yes.
I hate Carnage. I have like a top 5 list of characters I hate. Carnage is number 2.
Is the Sentry number 1?
Sentry is number 1.
I love the Sentry.
I hate Sentry.
Let me just like kind of little asterisk on this.
I will rein in the hate. I'll let you talk.
I love the Sentry as a solo character. His original miniseries is genuinely one of my favorite Marvel comics of all time.
Okay.
As soon as they tried to work him into the universe on a regular basis is when it fell apart.
And that's where my problem is with him. I don't hate him because I think the writing is sloppy. I don't hate him because I think that his character is bad. I hate him because when you get him into a book, he instantly becomes the prime focus of it. You can't just have, like, say, the Defenders and stick Superman in it. It's like, let's ignore the elephant in the room.
Like, the thesis statement of the original Sentry miniseries is, here is why a Superman archetype does not work in the Marvel universe.
Right. And it really doesn't.
And then Brian Michael Bendis was like, oh, cool. Shiny Man.
Yeah, let's stick him in the Avengers.
God. Yeah. And I don't hate Brian Michael Bendis, but I really do not care for his treatment of the Sentry, and especially just in its depiction of mental illness. Because in the original miniseries, it's a very interesting, nuanced take. Bendis is very much just feels like cartoon agoraphobic. It just doesn't work.
There's so many things about it that don't work. I think just it feels like as soon as he hits the book, I just want him to get out. Please leave. I've got all these other characters I want to hear about. I want to see them shine. They can't shine because you're here.
Well, maybe him not being a protagonist in this book will help.
Yeah, you know what, and that's cool. And I would totally down for it. I've also noticed his uniform's different.
Yes, so that's from the Jeff Lemire written Sentry book from 2 years ago at this point.
So did he like switch costumes, or is that the Shade?
So what happened was
the Void is his other side. Yeah, sorry. Okay.
Is at the end of Lemire's last book, where Tony Stark kind of built him a paradise virtual reality that felt like a classic like Captain Marvel or 50s Superman universe. The culmination of the book was that falling apart and the Sentry like merging with the Void. So they're now one entity.
Right. And
so it's no longer him and his dark side. It's just them.
The Void is the absolute epitome of self-sabotage.
Yeah.
I knew that as long as I kept these two characters apart, the Sentry was always going to suffer as a character, period. You weren't really going to get anything. It was always going to be awful.
Because like going back to the original Sentry miniseries, the whole point of the Void is that for like a being as good as the Sentry to exist, there must also be an equal force of evil. So the way the miniseries ends is the Sentry gives up his powers, erases everyone's memory of him to completely wipe the Void from existence.
Yeah, because from my understanding is the Sentry popped up right around the Fantastic Four. Yes. He was like one of the original Marvel characters, supposedly.
Yes.
And I remember that the advertisements for this was really writing this up. It's like
the lost Stan Lee character.
Yes, the lost Stan Lee character. He was meant to be there, but for some reason it didn't happen. And now we're dusting him off and retroing just right into the Marvel universe.
The trade paperback for it includes, at least the original printing does, I hope newer printings do, they include all these interviews that Stan Lee had been doing like as promotional stuff. They're so good because it's basically like, I might have created him. Who knows?
They're pulling a Blair Witch on us.
Because like, yeah, there's a really fun meta element to the original book where it is this like where no one in the Marvel universe remembers the Sentry, just like nobody in real life remembered the Sentry because he was made up for the book.
Yeah.
It's such a good book. Read the original Sentry miniseries by Paul Jenkins and Jay Lee. Phenomenal comic.
And Jay Lee. I can't get into Jay Lee.
Oh, I love Jay Lee's art.
Not ever since Namor.
Love that dark, broody.
Remember when Namor had the gigantic black beard? It was massive.
Hey, he got better.
The pointy gauntlets. He was all extreme.
Don't judge Jay Lee by his early 90s stuff. I mean, hey, he did that amazing issue of X Factor that was part of Executioner's Song, where everything looked like a Duran Duran album art.
Yeah.
That issue's great.
I have to say, and I have... It's almost cliche at this point for me to just to crap on 90s artists because, God, the 90s were a really dark time for comics. But some of them really have matured. Of course, Rob Liefeld not being one of them. Rob Liefeld's art is cleaner, but it's almost like
it's much shinier.
Yeah, it's almost like telling a 5-year-old, at least now you're within the lines.
You can only polish a turd so much. But Jay Lee, like his modern stuff is gallery worthy. Like his Batman Superman stuff, absolutely gorgeous. His Dark Tower covers, phenomenal. And the Sentry, amazing.
You know, I'm going to take back what I said about Jay Lee. I'm going to look into it.
Yeah.
I'm going to look into it.
Really, really cool.
So I can validate my hatred. Okay, so
yeah, Sentry's back. He's merged with the Void. And it's up to Black Panther and the Agents of Wakanda to stop him. Very excited about where this book goes.
Now we're into my absolute favorite series for the past few months. This is House of X5. Now, if you don't remember, well, of course you don't remember because that episode never aired.
Dun dun.
Last week, or it was 2 weeks ago, maybe, that we talked about the fact that the entire team was killed.
Yes, it was 2 weeks ago because Powers came out last week.
Yeah. And last week we had a great discussion about probably our highlight of the entire series, Mr. Sinister.
And Sinister Secrets.
Oh my God. Okay. So last week in our lost episode, which you can check out on Patreon, double plug, Magneto and Professor X seek out Nathaniel Essex to influence him. We find out that Nathaniel Essex, a.k.a. Mr. Sinister, really doesn't have a whole lot of interest in the whole mutant genome thing. He's just all about the human genome and all it can make him look great. And he's got this whole world of him.
The island of Dr. Essex, where it's all just Sinister clones.
Yeah, you got the guard is like, oh, hey, you're obviously, if you're here accident, you can go away. But if you're on purpose, no, but now I'm seeing the cape. I'm thinking you're here on purpose. Nice cape, by the way. Yeah, so they go to this place, and it's filled with Nathaniel Essex's clones doing a variety of different things, whether it be guards, butlers, and he's got like this court, and in the center of this court, they've got Mr. Sinister sitting on this fur-lined throne amongst his party of him. And the first thing is like, oh, that cape. I want his cape. Mr. Sinister immediately falls in love with Magneto's cape. And now we were talking, actually, you and I were talking about the fact that I finally figured out why somebody could have the self-awareness to still call himself Mr. Sinister. And you came up with the idea that it's pure camp.
Yeah, he is Tim Curry in Rocky Horror Picture Show as a supervillain. Like, it's why Sinister is my favorite X-Men villain. He is just maximum over the top camp, and I love him.
And it just got better because you're talking to Mr. Sinister, who's only interested in the human genome. And it's like, well, we really think it's important that you look into the mutant genome. You know, and it's very clear that Xavier and Magneto are obviously seeding a future that they know it has to happen. And part of that has to be Mr. Sinister being obsessed with either the Summers bloodline or the just mutants in general. And so they need to see that. And this guy's just not doing it. And all of a sudden, that guy's head's exploding. And now we got this other Mr. Sinister with a cape.
The Mutant Sinister.
The Mutant Sinister, who is fabulous as hell.
I think like he describes his mutant power as killing tyrants and being fabulosity.
Yes.
God.
And he is all about that mutant genome, and he's going to do it. This sold me on Mr. Sinister. Sold you on Mr. Sinister. It sold our producer on Mr. Sinister.
Yeah, there's two kinds of Sinister stories. Mm-hmm. There are the kind of bland ones where he's just a spooky looking vampire guy that works for Apocalypse. And then there's the really fun ones.
Yes.
And this was one like Kieran Gillen's first arc on Uncanny like 8 years ago opens with Mr. Sinister hacking into the head of Celestial and using it to turn everyone in Los Angeles or either Los Angeles, San Francisco, somewhere on the California coast into either a Sinister or a Prior.
I love that.
It's one of my favorite modern X-Men stories. It's like, so good.
This is so over the top. And I'm glad that they kind of brought that back. That self-obsessedness that he has with himself and Madeline Pryor. I think they also kind of name drop Madeline Pryor to a degree. In
the Sinister Secrets, which is a gossip column for all the Sinisters by Sinister. And
God.
Full of all these cryptic hints of things to come and callbacks to classic X-Men stories. They reference Jumbo Carnation, the mutant fashion designer from Grant Morrison's run who gets killed.
Yeah, there's like 2 pages of just rumor mills from Mr. Sinister.
Oh man. It's like, which plants the Jumbo Carnation bit, I'm realizing now, is planting the seeds for the reveals in this week's.
Yeah, and the sad thing is, last week we talked about the Sinister Secrets, and we actually had the 2 pages that were involving basically scrolling on our image here, so you could see just the craziness that we were dealing with. I remember we also killed for time so you could get the page
exactly.
So we're going to hope to God that our Patreon, our super secret Patreon episode will still have the secrets of Sinister, so you can see for yourself just the nutcase that we're dealing with.
But segueing into hinting about Jumbo Carnation, what it's about is resurrection, which is what this week's
is about. And see, we got to figure out. Well, we just wasted some top tier X talent up near the sun.
Yeah.
Does that make this an alternate universe thing? Because that's my first thing.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as that happened, I actually began to check out. It says, okay, well, this doesn't have any real repercussions because this is clearly not the main universe.
Oh, no. Not physical repercussions, moral repercussions.
Yes, because apparently, the powers that be, being Xavier, Magneto, have come up with a process to bring mutants back.
Yes. And Moira. Moira probably had a big hand in this. We haven't seen her in house yet, but she's got to be all over it.
Especially after that Sinister thing, that had her earmark all over it. But yeah, so we've got these 5 mutants that basically all team up to bring back dead mutants. And the whole goal. Yes.
You want me to walk through the process?
Yes.
So, my boy Goldballs, one of my favorite mutants of the last decade,
who had a weird talent of just sprouting out balls, and also was Miles Morales' roommate.
Yes, yeah. So
and from what I understand, still is.
I don't know if they're still roommates. I know they were in class together.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Goldballs could make gold balls that shot out kind of like dodgeballs, and you could hit people with them, but they weren't super tough. So turns out those are eggs.
Those are eggs.
But they are
inert.
Yeah. Inert eggs. So classic reality warping villain and son of Moira McTaggart, Proteus, gives him a little reality warp dupe.
And makes them viable.
Makes them viable eggs, which are then injected with Hope Summers using her amazing power copying with the DNA of another mutant.
Well, actually, they get the injection of the DNA from Miss Sinister.
Yes.
Because she has apparently
that's the current Sinister persona running around,
right? And then she's got the library of mutant stuff, and
which in Powers last week they told is what they were getting Sinister to do for them, is like cataloging all the DNA.
Right.
So Hope injects the egg with the DNA of the chosen mutant. The egg starts to grow. Elixir jumps in there, gives it some life, And then Tempest, another Brian Michael Bendis era mutant, which, for all the smack I've been talking about Bendis lately, I really love his Uncanny Run. And I love all the kids he made. And I'm glad to see a bunch of them come back.
I gotta agree on that one.
So Tempest has time warping powers. She can make a little time bubble. And so she speeds up the process on the eggs. And you have a perfectly viable mutant body. Which one last step? Charles Xavier uses Cerebro to store mutant consciousness and drop it in the body.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, towards the middle of the book, of course, we're still getting lengthy texts to explain things, and one of them being Cerebro. So finding mutants apparently is its secondary effect, and the primary is creating copies of their consciousness.
Yep.
It's a bit of a stretch, but I'm still on board.
Yeah.
I'm still on board.
Was very taken by one of the text bits saying that, like, we don't really know what happens if you put the wrong consciousness into a different body. So that's got me wondering if Xavier might not be Moira running around in there.
And this is something I talked about right before we recorded. I'm absolutely sure almost every single comic fan that read this comic has one big question. How did they get the adamantium on Wolverine?
My hand wave for it is just, there's a line about Sinister making like designer genes and making basically just tinkering with their base DNA.
So you think maybe like an organic adamantium was applied or something? Yeah. That's got to get explained. It's got to get explained.
With how insanely detail oriented Hickman is. Yeah, I feel like we're getting next issue. Sinister's like, you like my organic adamantium?
This isn't the only time that Wolverine has been completely vaporized and brought back.
Yeah. Happens shockingly often.
Yeah, back in the 90s, he was vaporized and he was brought back because a part of his DNA, his blood, touched the McCran crystal, and boom, he was brought back. And I don't know. Actually, I think this was during the time he did not have the adamantium in him. So that's how that got explained. But there's nerds everywhere wondering, where's the metal? How'd the metal get in there? Come on. We got to hear an explanation for it.
We'll get a 6-issue miniseries.
We're going to get a 6-issue miniseries about how that happened, because it's got to get addressed. It's got to get addressed. Likely. So all the mutants are back. They did some math. It takes about 48 hours for a mutant to become completely back. And the goal is to bring back all mutants, including the 16 million that were killed in Genosha.
Yeah.
And they say it'll take 300 years to get everybody back.
Which, good thing we've got a book that's dealing with the massively extrapolated years of X-Men coming up.
Yeah. So I got to wonder, who's your favorite dead mutant?
Who's like currently dead?
Yeah. Who's going to obviously use this as an opportunity to get back?
Probably Jamie Madrox.
The original Madrox.
Yes.
That'd be such a perfect excuse to get rid of all the weird Madroxes.
And Strong Guy. I mean, so this is kind of going back. They finally address how Matthew Rosenberg's Uncanny X-Men run fits into this one. Because with killing like 20 mutants or something crazy in his run, like this makes it okay. Like they're all back.
Yeah.
It was not fun to read through at the time, but seeing how Hickman was able to sidestep that, they actually probably planned it together. They're like, hey, we're having a plot device. Let's just resurrect mutants. So
yeah, it's going to happen.
Kill them all.
I'll tell you what mine is. Sync from Generation X.
He's mentioned. He's back.
He is already?
They mention in the text when they're talking about if they need a substitution for the 5 that they could just use Sync.
I'll be
like
damned.
Sync or Mimic. They're like we haven't tested it yet, but that should work.
So what I'm hearing now is Mimic is no longer a altered human. He's a mutant.
I'm guessing for
all intents and purposes, because I saw him Mimic. He was dressed as well, and they called him a mutant. I think that's something that was actually addressed during the whole Dark X-Men storyline. Yeah,
because he was one of like the headliners for that book.
I love Mimic.
A guy with his big feet and his big glasses.
Yeah, I love Mimic. I love Mimic, especially during the Exiles issues. But I think that current 616 Mimic deserves to be on someone's team.
It blew my mind when I found out that Morph was like an alt-universe Mimic. I was like, what?
Yeah. That was something that blew my mind.
Well, this one's for you, Morph.
No, see, here's the thing. I thought Morph was an alternate universe changeling.
Oh my God, you're right. I feel like a giant dummy now.
Yeah, well, I was a giant dummy because I didn't catch your mistake until just like 10 seconds in.
The fact that there are 3 characters that are essentially interchangeable but wildly different.
And Morph and Changeling and Mimic both came and died pretty much around the same time, which is like in the late 60s. And that was during the time when they supposedly killed off Professor Xavier.
Yeah, but
it's Changeling that got killed, and he took the bullet, and that's the reason why he's no longer with us.
But where was Lucifer?
Lucifer, yes.
Where was Professor X's tank wheelchair?
Factor 3, wasn't it? Factor 3.
Did you
ever
read X-Men Grand Design?
I did a little bit.
I really like the way they tied all those weird alien early Silver Age X-Men villains into being like, oh, we're like Phoenix Force going to head for Earth in a few years. Better start killing some mutants before the Phoenix finds them.
You know what? The funny thing you should bring that up is because when I was reading the Black Panther and Agents of Wakanda, I thought those aliens were Znox, which was the alien force that Changeling, as Professor Xavier, was trying to stop.
I think you might be right on that because they shapeshift into kids in that scene.
Yeah, like Znox, they're brown. They got the same eyes, the same teeth, and I haven't seen Znox in a long time.
And I mean, with the characters they're pulling in Agents of Wakanda, I think you might not be too far off the mark.
I would pat myself. I would break my own arm, pat myself on the back if I'm right. So yeah, that's what's going on with House of X. This it's probably one of the best X-Men minis I've seen in years.
Oh man, it's the best X title.
I've been enjoying this every single week
since AVX.
Yeah, and they've released some other stuff since that. I know that they tried to resurrect all the mutants using the technovirus. I didn't really care for that. Mm-hmm. And they've done other weird X-Men stuff that didn't really feel like it was even mainline stuff as events. And I've ignored those too but
it's almost like the parent company isn't trying to bury the X-Men anymore.
Right?
Almost.
Because I was like, we're going to get this A-list talent because they are paying big money for this guy to do this, clearly. And when I saw it advertised, I was like, I'm not reading that crap. I know exactly what I'm in for. I'm in for a title. It's not going to mean anything. It's going to be this weird, esoteric journey of discovery and all this other crap. And then it's going to end. It's going to have no impact on the real world. And then we're done, which is what has happened in a lot of X-Men stories. So when I saw this come up, I was like, I'm not reading that. But I was like...
Then you got a podcast where
I had to read it. So I cracked it. I swear this podcast is the only reason I'm reading this book, or at least I started. And I was like, okay, I'm hooked. And when they killed off the other X-Men, I was like, oh, this is what I expected. Alternate universe shenanigans. I'm getting ready to check out. Okay, no, Sinister brought me back hard.
Pod people.
Mr. Sinister brought me back hard. And I can't say enough about that Mr. Sinister bit.
It's such a good issue,
and it's such a great cover.
The little chibi Scotty Young Mr. Sinister.
Yes,
so
and I'm not really usually a fan of Scotty Young's little chibi stuff, but that really was perfect.
I almost bought his cover from this week just because it had Cypher and Warlock, who I really really love.
Speaking of covers, and Rob, please make sure you get this on the screen for us. The cover for House of X5 features one of my favorite mutants, Magic.
Yes.
And this cover is just so pretty. Yeah. Just look at all the different versions of Magic on this thing.
They've been doing these decades covers for each issue where it's like one character, their look throughout the years. Like I think I brought the Angel one in a couple weeks ago where it's got like Angel like rising up in his current costume with like all of his prior ones falling up behind him.
Okay, with that, I'm expecting my Sabretooth cover now. I want my Sabretooth cover.
I wouldn't hold my breath. I think the last couple ones we're getting are Gambit, Nightcrawler.
Okay, now I'm sold on Nightcrawler.
Yeah, it's a little boring. It's not my favorite of the bunch.
I have to say Nightcrawler is my favorite X-Men.
He's a really damn good one. He's a top 10er for me. Like I'm curious. Who are your top 5 X-Men?
My top 5 X-Men? Okay, I got this one. It's in no particular order, and I get to fudge this a little bit. Magic, Nightcrawler, Sunspot. I say Sunspot, didn't I? Cool. Yeah. All right, Sabretooth. I'm using my hand. I know I counted to 4. Fifth one. I'm a lack on the fifth one. I know it's gonna come to me if I just look at the.
So while you wait, I'll
so I'm gonna simmer on this one.
Number 1, my boy Scott Summers, Cyclops. Number 2, the Disco Dazzler. Number 3, Emma Frost, the White Queen. Number 4, the Bouncing Blue Beast. And number 5, Jamie Madrox, Multiple Man.
Mystique.
Good pick.
Mystique's my 5th. Both Mystique and Sabretooth have actually been on X-Men more than twice now.
Good for them.
They're actually in X-Men now.
Yeah.
I was really happy with that. Of course, every mutant is in the X-Men now.
I'm trying to say, like, Apocalypse. Oh, man. The last page. Okay, before we segue into...
Oh, yes. We forgot that.
The last couple pages of Hawks this week is Xavier opens the doors of Krakoa to all mutants.
This includes villains.
Yeah. We see the MLF show up. We see
Exodus
show up. We see Lady Mastermind. But most importantly, Apocalypse.
Our big boy Apoc decided to show up for the party.
Who is apparently an old friend of Krakoa's.
Yeah. They're going back to, oh, hey, I'm back, old friend. I'm like,
And the last page is Charles Xavier shaking the hand, well, more of Charles's tiny hand in Apocalypse's giant finger.
Yeah, after, of course, Magneto said, say the words. It's like, I am here to follow the rules that's set by Xavier.
And Apocalypse is going to be one of the members of Excalibur. So yeah, apparently he's playing ball.
Because Apocalypse, he totally backs what they're doing.
Yeah.
This is the way to go.
It's what he's wanted.
Yeah. I mean, this is better than anything because now we get them all.
Yeah.
Right.
Who needs 4 horsemen? You can have 4 million.
Speaking of which, we are going to get something in a future book that's going to talk about his original 4 horsemen.
I'm very curious about that.
Yeah. And I don't know if that means we're talking about like the Egyptian 4 horsemen or we're talking about Abraham as war horsemen.
I think it's probably going to be the Egyptian ones because we saw how they ended in Powers, but we haven't seen where they go from there. You know, it looks like they will step into a portal, right?
You know, the 4 horsemen actually would come back because they were mutants.
Yeah.
So we'll have Plague and Abraham and that
maybe that's how they're getting
chick that played Famine.
And it's how they're getting Apocalypse to play ball. They promised him his original crew.
I'm gonna think about so many mutants.
He doesn't have to keep cycling through a different war for different crossover issues. God. No Hulk, no Gambit, no Wolverine.
Yeah, I'm sitting here thinking about all the mutants that would come back. For this.
Was Gambit death or famine? He's lame enough to be famine.
He was death.
Oh, Gambit was death?
He was death.
Of course he was. I don't know if the camera caught my eyes rolling into orbit as, of course, Gambit's
I think he
death.
was death at the same time that Sunfire was.
That was the 12, right?
Yeah, it was during the 12, but Sunfire and Gambit were both horsemen.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what made Sunfire look like his Age of Apocalypse version. Which I like.
It's a great
with
costume.
The faceplate and the Pichelli design. I'm saying his name right. Chris Pichelli?
Yeah, Pichelli.
Yeah, I love Pichelli's designs, and I loved what he did here.
I was a huge Gen X fan as a kid, and I think a big part of that was just the character designs.
Absolutely.
Like between
remember that foil cover that they did for issue 1? Oh, I was such in love with that thing.
It's gorgeous.
And that's the reason why, even though I'm a big New Mutants fan, because New Mutants came out when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Generation X was supposed to be New Mutants for the next generation. I got hooked on that too. So
it's good stuff.
It was good stuff. So we're going to get a little bit into some pop culture news. We just found out, actually, maybe today or yesterday, that our boy Smallville is going to be showing up for the Infinity Crisis.
Somebody save me!
Tom Welling has signed up to return as Clark Kent for the upcoming CW crossover Crisis of Infinity.
Along with Erica Durance coming back as Lois Lane.
Yep, both of them. They're trying to get everyone. I heard they almost even got the star of Krypton for this if the show hadn't got canceled.
Yeah. We got a 3 Clark pilot now.
We do. Oh, I think we got all of them except for Henry Cavill.
Everyone but Henry Cavill and Dean Cain.
Dean Cain needs to get on board. That boy ain't doing anything else.
He's doing a lot of direct-to-DVD stuff. He did a movie with The Big Show a couple of years ago.
Oh, The Big Show. Now you know he's made it.
Hey, you do that WWE films, you're set for life.
You're set for life. You got the WDU money. Yeah. There's no doubt about that. But Dean Cain definitely, he needs to jump on the ball.
I mean, he was just on Supergirl in season 1. So
he was?
Yeah. He played Kara's adopted father on Earth.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, that was cool. Then
Linda Carter, is she in on this yet?
Yeah, I believe Linda Carter has been confirmed. Yeah. Kevin Conroy is going to be a Batman.
Yes.
Burt Ward's going to be
on it.
Older Dick Grayson.
Mm-hmm.
Brandon Routh is Superman.
What? Mark Hamill.
Mark Hamill's got to do it. He's always down.
At some level.
I feel like Mark Hamill has he just has a special ringtone for Warner Brothers animation.
Mm-hmm.
or just Warner Brothers in general, and he'll be filming Star Wars or something and just be like, hold on, I gotta run back to California to record some Joker lines real quick.
Speaking of Mark Hamill, I am going to do this free plug just because I think that it needs it. But Epix Games right now is offering free Batman games.
Oh.
All the 3 Rocksteady Arkhams are completely free, and the 3 Lego Batmans are free.
Oh, nice.
And of course, that's got Mark Hamill as the Joker in it. So I'm going to play me some Arkham Knight when I get home.
Fun stuff. Yeah, I never got around to playing Knight. I think it's free on the PlayStation Plus as well.
It's free until the 26th. So what we're airing this on the 20th. Oh, God.
We only got a week.
Let's see. What's Tuesday? Is it Tuesday? Because that's when we release the episode, right?
Yeah.
It's on Tuesday. Of course, I know that. That's what? It's 6 days? Okay. So you got today. If you saw this episode right when we released it, go get you some Batman games.
Have yourself a Batman.
We also caught wind of the fact that DC wants to re-release Birds of Prey as an adult-only book.
Yeah, it got pushed back a couple months. They're slapping a black label on it, which I think is a weird call.
I think so, too. What are they going to do with it? That would be extreme.
Especially after Azzarello already had the big black label snafu with the Batwang.
The Batwang. I knew you were going to say that.
So is Black Mask going to hang dong?
The dong that sold so many comics.
The smaller Black Mask. Well, we'll see. I was already pretty skeptical about this new Birds of Prey book just because it's kind of smacks of synergy, like with Harley being on the team and no Barbara Gordon. But I mean, I love Emanuela Lupacino's art. Azzarello, it's kind of hit or miss, but his Gotham stuff tends to be good.
I think this is all just about cross promotion.
Oh yeah,
because from what I'm hearing, they want to sell the Birds of Prey movie as an R-rated movie.
Yeah, which
is going to have Harley Quinn in it.
I'm
and
super
there you
jazzed.
go.
Yeah.
It's got to match up.
Yeah, but you know what? So I've got a lot of issues with what we've seen of the Birds of Prey stuff so far. One of my biggest one is
what?
Ewan McGregor not wearing a goddamn black mask despite being the character literally named Black Mask.
He's not going to wear a mask?
He hasn't in any of the promotional material yet. They've released a poster without it. They've released 2 character teasers without it. It's driving me nuts.
Well, I think the reason behind that is a lot of producers don't want to cover up their star's face too much.
And maybe it'll just be a promotional material.
Vendetta problem.
Yeah.
Because remember, the original guy that played V in V for Vendetta quit because you were covering his face.
Yeah, and I know that's a common thing with like superhero movies is like Spider-Man, you got to have an excuse for him to tear his mask off.
Constantly.
Yeah. But I mean, like, Black Mask, Roman Sionis. He's literally named after his gimmick.
Well, they got to sell this movie.
Yeah.
Well, maybe when they sell the movie, he'll be wearing the mask in the movie, but I don't think they're going to use it for promotional.
Maybe, yeah.
Because it's really not that important to them.
I do love my boy.
What is important is selling over McGregor.
Yeah, and I love my boy Ewan. Glad to see him doing good.
I like seeing the fact he's looking forward to Obi-Wan. I saw him on a British talk show, and he was showcasing his lightsaber maneuver.
Very fun.
He's still got the whole twisty thing.
That was awesome.
Graham Norton. He was on Graham Norton.
Nice.
What else we got going on? 2099.
2099's coming back.
2099 is coming back.
They teased it in Amazing Spider-Man 25 last month. Or 2 months ago, maybe at this point. But instead of just being Spider-Man 2099 popping up again, it is the entire 2099 line. We've got Doom. We got the
Ghost
Punisher.
Rider.
We got the time-displaced Fantastic Four.
Oh, really? How about the X-Men?
I don't think they've done anything to the X-Men yet just because they're not wanting to touch Hickman's playground right now.
Yeah, because there was like 2 titles. There was X-Men and X-Men Academy.
Something like that.
It was like there was like the younger X-Men of the future, which lasted all of 5 issues.
It was the 90s. The X-Men got 2 titles.
And then the guy that was drawing it decided, I don't want to make comics anymore. Remember that? Maduro?
Oh, Joe Mad?
Yeah. Joe Mad says, I don't want to draw comics anymore. I want to do this whole Battle Chasers thing.
Yeah. And then he
went nowhere.
Did video game character design, and that did pretty good for him.
Yeah, but 15 years later,
I do love the famous story of him being like months and months behind on Battle Chasers, and him just straight up admitting, I played a lot of World of Warcraft.
Battle Chasers never really came out, did it? Or if it did, it came out very small.
Yeah, there's I think maybe 12 issues of it. But anyways, the thing I'm really excited for about 2099, Conan the Barbarian 2099.
Oh, jeez. I don't know anything about that, but
he's got a laser sword, and it's being written by Jerry Dugan. He's doing Savage Avengers right now. I think it's going to be a blast.
Oh, here's the thing I've got. See, I have been burned by Marvel's licensing of other properties. I've fallen in love with the characters just to have them completely ripped out of trade paperbacks because they no longer have the license. I'm talking to you, Rom Space Knight.
Dire Wraiths. So many important X-Men issues have Dire Wraiths in them.
Yeah, so now I keep seeing Marvel jumping into bed with Conan over and over again, like some strange abusive relationship. And I'm like, how many times are you going to do this before they take Conan away from us again?
This is what, the third time they've licensed Conan?
Yeah, I mean, this is the third time they've licensed Conan, but he is in everything.
Oh my God, he's all over the place.
They're using the hell out of Conan.
Like, they got him in Savage Avengers. They've got him in it's just a one shot for $20.99. Then we're getting a Conan-centric event where they're bringing in more Robert E. Howard characters in the universe.
It's like some kind of Hyborian event.
Also going to be there.
Yeah, that was crazy.
It's by Jim Zub, who does really good fantasy work. So it might be worth reading.
The Howard estate comes by and says, "No more Conan." Then we gotta cut this boy out of every trade, or just not really release them.
I'm sorry, Howard estate just made me picture a team of duck lawyers.
I was trying to show off the fact that I knew who wrote Conan there. He just had to destabilize it with a Howard the Duck reference. I don't know if some of you are a little too young to understand this. Rom the Space Knight is owned by Parker Brothers, which is, of course, owned by Hasbro. And Hasbro has a licensing thing going on with IDW, I think. So Rom can't be in any Marvel things. Yet the fact is, Rom has been in almost everything Marvel. I mean,
I don't think he ever teamed up with Spidey, but
he was with the X-Men. He was with
Power Man and Iron Fist. Have a great issue. The Hulk.
Yeah, I mean, he showed up to Rick Jones's wedding.
Yeah,
I mean, he was on the cover of the first one of the first Marvel universes, and I heard that they had to pretty much just rub him out of the cover. It's like this big open spot where Rom Space Knight was. And not to say that IDW isn't doing some good stuff with Rom, because their redesign of Rom is beautiful. But they've already canceled the book.
Yeah. He got to pal around with the Transformers, though, so that was pretty fun.
Yeah. Okay, one last thing we got to knock out of the park before we start selling you on us.
I think I have an additional thing after this one. But...
Oh, you have one more thing?
Yeah. We're
going to talk a little bit about the Battlestar Galactica reboot that's coming out for NBC.
Yeah. I'm so sick of streaming services.
That's true. NBC is opening up with their new streaming service, which is going to be called Peacock. And I think that this is what this is, because CBS has got Discovery. And of course, also it's got
Twilight Zone.
And it's got all of the, now that the deal with Paramount and CBS has happened, CBS has everything Star Trek, period. So that means their streaming service is Star Trek. Well, NBC does own Battlestar. Got to do something with that. That series really did well, right? So here's NBC's rationale. We gotta have Battlestar, but we don't want to reboot it because that is really rolling the dice. It could crap the bed. What worked? Well, the one season that we had back in 1979, that didn't go anywhere. No, granted, it didn't go anywhere because of horrible mismanagement involving the programming of the show. They basically did a Serenity level mismanagement of that episode, that show. But that sci-fi series really took off, so let's use that. So this, in fact, is not a reboot, but will take place in the same universe as the sci-fi show.
And it's being showrun by the guy who did Mr. Robot.
I love Mr. Robot.
Yeah, well, there you go.
I do.
Should be of the same quality, hopefully.
But how are they going to do this?
I am not a Battlestar Galactica fan, not because I don't like it. I just never got around to watching it. I have many friends who tell me that I need to watch it.
Yes.
The same friends who told me for many years I need to watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which I'm finally doing.
I'm that guy.
So I'm probably going to get to Battlestar eventually.
I'm the one that's going to tell you to go watch Battlestar. All right. I have a Battlestar set. There's that big box one that comes with not a Klingon, but a Cylon figure. Yeah.
I remember for... God, I used to be very active in the online Lego community, and there is a whole wave of just massive Battlestar fandom with the Lego fandom. Not surprising. And so a big thing was everyone designing their own. Are they VIC Vipers? Yeah, of just everyone doing their own takes on the iconic ship. And it just completely went over my head as a kid. I was like, I have no idea what this is. It looks cool. It looks kind of like an X-Wing.
I have a friend of mine who actually detests the Battlestar reboot. He says that he couldn't find any characters he found sympathetic, so he couldn't latch on to it. I loved some of the characters. Now, granted, Apollo was not worthy of any real respect, but I love Starbuck, even though they did stuff to her, which I won't get into because you haven't seen the show.
I haven't seen the show.
So I'm going to let you have that.
I know my man Edward James Olmos is in it, and I feel like am
Edward
legally
James
obligated.
Almost knocked it out of the park.
And from what I heard, it's one of his best roles ever.
Everybody that was in this show did A+ work. The guy that was his first officer is probably one of the best characters in the show. Nice. He really is. I wish I could do him justice by knowing his name, but I would have to dig up my phone. I don't think my editor needs another cut.
So
you've got something.
Yes. DC was going to announce this tomorrow, but
you've got something I don't know.
Yeah, it leaked out today, unless it winds up to be false, in which case we'll just edit out this segment.
Because that's the miracle of editing. Let's give a pause to make it easy for our guy editor to cut this out. Hold the position.
So,
okay.
The new writer for Batman, after Tom King's run ends prematurely but gets spun off into a miniseries at number 85, is James Tynion IV, who is a writer I don't hate James Tynion IV. He's okay.
Okay.
He did Detective Comics with Clayface and Batwoman and the whole Bat family. That was pretty good.
He's the one that wrote the Batwoman's murder of Clayface.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, and that's probably my favorite thing I've read by him.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a current book coming out called Something is Killing the Children that's supposed to be phenomenal. I haven't checked it out yet though, because I'm kind of a little leery. It's Justice League Dark from what I've read. It's fine. He's co-writes a lot of Justice League with Scott Snyder, because kind of guy stars. He's Scott Snyder's protege.
Now, did Snyder do that recent Bat spinoff, The Signal?
He co-wrote that.
Whatever happened to that?
Signal is in Batman the Outsiders right now.
Okay, but they did like a miniseries where they're supposed to, but it got massively delayed each time.
Yeah, it was a 3-issue mini. I don't think it got too delayed. I remember it coming out on time. I just remember there not being a lot of hype behind it.
I really want that to be more of a mainline character, because I love his character. His character and his costume design.
I love the reflective logo.
Yeah, he's basically the daytime Batman, and he was like, it's all yellow and whites with that light up logo. I love that.
I try to avoid buying multiple Bat titles, so I did wind up skipping on Outsiders, but it's got Bryan Hill writes it, and he's one of my favorite writers right now. So I've been planning on going back and checking out in trade. And it's got Black Lightning, who's one of my favorite characters, period.
I love Black Lightning. I was a big fan of Black Lightning from back in the original Outsiders run. When we had that fro going on.
Which, part of a disguise.
Part of a disguise. And Black Lightning was the best.
Man, I really loved the classic 70s stuff as a kid. Then when I got a bit older, I was able to track down some of the 90s stuff, which is also really good. It reads like a Milestone comic, despite being like in the main DC universe. And then, pretty much anytime he pops up, I pick it up. But I just have reasons I missed out on this current version.
Okay, so we're running out of time here. I think before we go, we're going to do this weird little thing that we picked up. This is something strange we picked up at a comic store called Deadpool Chimichanga. It's a mystery box.
Disappointingly not an actual chimichanga.
Not a chimichanga. This is actually the first thing I asked when I was handed this package.
It's like, we're getting snacks.
Are we eating this? Are we going to heat this up? Because, I mean, it feels like it's got one of those crisper things in there. So it's like a Hot Pocket or something like that. So we're going to open this, and my editor wanted me not to screw this up, so he showed me how to open this thing, but I didn't listen to him at all. So I'm doing this my way.
Screw it up anyway.
So
got a lot of good crinkling.
Yeah, we're gonna do some serious crinkling, but here we go. Okay, let's see what we got. Okay, so apparently, my headphone. There we go. Of course it's taped. Lovely. You know what? I opened up the bag. Maybe I should hand this over to you.
Yeah, I'll see what Wade Wilson variant we get here. Alrighty.
Okay.
The Deadpool we got was one with a banana and a super soaker.
I got a black unicorn.
Oh, he rides it.
Does he ride the black unicorn? Our powers combine.
Oop.
Oh,
there we go.
There's something else in here. Another unicorn.
My goodness.
It's a double unicorn.
All the way across the sky.
I wonder if it just like chills next to him. Does he hold it? He's sticking his jacket like Captain Boomerang.
God bless.
So we got that whole thing. Did anything else come with it? Is there?
I think that's it. There is a little.
What's that?
Sweet sticky.
Well, we've already opened this. Now we get the sweet sticky.
That's a phrase that I didn't want to hear today. That looks like little
that's
stickers.
not edible at all.
Little stickers.
Oh, okay. Chimichanga and he's got the little black unicorn.
It's an angry looking unicorn.
It is an angry unicorn. It's got red eyes and everything.
Exactly.
Did you know that one of the most expensive HeroClix, of course, is the games where you get to move your little figures around.
Nerds like us play it.
Yeah, Google it. Anyway, the most expensive HeroClix out there that goes for about $200 is Deadpool on the back of a unicorn.
Yeah, I remember people just going absolutely nuts.
With a rainbow over him.
But I also remember that a few cases got sent out where every pack like had a Deadpool unicorn in it.
Oh my God, that's gold.
Yeah, and the store I work at got one of those. And we're like, man, why are we getting such a rush on these Deadpools? And it's like, oh man, everyone's getting a unicorn.
Jeez, you know that thing is still...
And I missed out on it.
It's still super expensive to this day. It's not $200. It peaked at $200. Now it's like $125.
You know what? It actually might be a fun kind of one-off episode. Just filming us playing a game of HeroClix.
I would totally be down for that.
Yeah, I don't think have I ever played HeroClix against. I mean, we might have done like at a tournament or something.
I don't know. I played HeroClix for 12 years.
I've played HeroClix for 3.
Yeah, I actually streamed a HeroClix game over my Facebook one time, and people actually paid attention.
Oh, nice. Maybe they'll pay attention now.
Maybe. So that's our future vanity project. We're going to have to convince our producer over that. I can see him over there. He's like already shaking his head. No, I'm not doing that crap. But he wants us to wrap this the hell up. And that's what we're going to try to do now. We need your support. We're still a new podcast. We're still trying to get our legs. So if you feel, hey, I like these guys, they don't suck.
Give us your money, honey.
Give us your money. And the best way you can do that is through our Patreon link, which is down there below. And if you like what you're hearing, give us a like. If you want to hear more about us, hit the little bell and we'll tell you when we're on. We do release every Tuesday. Mm-hmm. We try to hit it right before the next comics.
Yes.
So you can see what you missed out on before you go spend crap loads more money at your local comic store.
Let's say if you are too broke from buying comics to support us, I can sustain myself on likes and follows. So
yes, I do sustain on validation alone, even though you give me lots of validation.
We're simple petty men.
Well, I think that's all for this week's episode. Hopefully, this one won't become another secret episode like last week's.
Hopefully we sold you on Flash Forward and steered you away from Spider-Man.
God, yes. If nothing else, steered you away. Don't read Spider-Man #1.
Read Spider-Girl or renew your vows.
Yes, much better. Dom DeFalco's better work. Anyway, that's us. See ya.